Hello everyone and welcome to a spell chat, whatever you want to call this thing. So yes, first of all I'd like to say thank you very much to the person who saw one of my others and asked for this one. And they asked for a spell for a loved one, which is a lovely thing, isn't it? When somebody knows what we do and they approach us and say, can you help me with something? So this one, luck for a loved one. And the first thing I'll say is get them to do it with you, if possible. Obviously, if they live miles away, that could be a little bit tricky. But if they are close enough that you can actually do it with them, fantastic, because they can choose the items that they want incorporated in the spell. You can explain to them about them. They will add their energy to it. It will be more personal to them because they are there. The other thing that I will say is please do not presume that just because somebody knows what you do, they will be happy for you to do a spell for them. Check. So if they haven't actually asked you, go and ask them or approach them and just say, would you like me to do, you know what I do, would you like me to do something to help with your luck for this situation? If they say no, fine. If they say yes, brilliant, because then you've got their permission. It's just not polite to try and inflict what you think somebody needs onto them. Let them come to you or approach them and ask whether they would like you to help. Either way, whether you've asked or they've asked, if possible, get them to help with it because, as I say, it will just boost the whole thing. It'll make it so much more personal to them, plus putting more of their own energy into it. If that's not possible, then obviously check with them. So ask them questions, which we'll go through as I go through what we're going to do now, which is hopefully switch to the other screen. There we go. I've chosen white just because that's an all-round colour, but if you want to use a water cloth or a cloth of some kind, the colours are the same as you would use for the candle as well. So you could use green, you could use white, you could use red, gold, blue, or their favourite colour, which is what I'm going to do. And my favourite colour is purple, so I have it's a lilac-y purple spell candle. So these spell candles, the size, tend to take about 30 to 35 minutes to burn. They're also very useful for writing things on. However, if you want to do something quicker, then you can just use a birthday candle. They take about 5 to 10 minutes to burn down. If you've got these are little beeswax spell candles, very handy. These can take up to 20 minutes to burn, depending on their age. The newer they are, the quicker they burn. But once they're a little bit old and dried out, they tend to take a little bit longer. And the thing that's nice about the beeswax is that if you warm it in your hands, you can actually unpeel it. Where's the edge? There it is. So you can actually warm it up. I'm not going to do it because obviously I haven't warmed it up enough. But you can unpeel it a bit and put a few of your herbs that you're using into it. Not many. Please don't put many. From experience, if you put too many herbs, it goes up like a Roman candle. You know, one of those firework things. So yeah, don't do that. Just put a little sprinkling in there. If you wanted to anoint them with oil, I'd say sunflower oil, olive oil, whatever you've got to hand. If you wanted to actually, as you're, saying this is for whoever's luck in whatever situation, you could just use plain oil. If you wanted to use an infused oil, then I would tend to go with probably marigold or rose. But as I say, plain sunflower will work because that's one of the herbs that I would associate with luck. And remember that all of the things I'm saying today are my associations. These are suggestions to give you an idea what to work from. But make it your own, or make it your loved one's own. So yes, so there we are. I'm going to start off with my lilac candle because lilac, my favourite colour. But if your friend's favourite colour is royal blue and you happen to have a nice royal blue candle, perfect, because blue is one of the colours. If their favourite colour is pink, then use a pink candle. As I say, the general things are white, green, red, gold, blue, but go with what your friend wants. Safe candle holder, matcha, lighter or matches. I'll go on to symbols next, I think, because I'll come back to the herbs. I know I just mentioned them, but we'll come back to them, I think, because at this stage, because these ones especially are quite useful for inscribing symbols and what have you onto, I think we'll go with those next. So if you wanted to use runes, Gibu is one that you could try. Then there is, turn this around so you can see it, Fehu is the other one. I'm going to go around that way. Uraz, Thurazaz, or Pertho. Oh, you can see that all right. This one doesn't tend to come up that well. It looks a bit like a cauldron when you hold it that way around, or a handbag maybe. But yeah, Pertho. Or my favourite all-time rune, Bacana. Love Bacana. So yeah, so those are, so you could inscribe them, not all of them, just pick one or a couple, or do a bind rune by putting them together. But you can mark that on. If you wanted just to use a symbol, then the classic two that come straight to mind are either a four-leaf clover or a horseshoe. And when I was thinking about that, I actually thought, well, there are other things that we can do with this. So I'm just picking some bits up and popping them in there so I can show them to you individually. So if you have little charms, have a look through, or get your loved one to look through your charms and see what they come up with. So there's a little four-leaf clover that you could use. If you haven't got a horseshoe, use a horse. There's one. And there's another that was in my little stash of goodies. As I was going through and thinking about it, the other things that jumped out at me were a little feather. I want to say it's a steering wheel. It's not a steering wheel. I can't remember the right name, but it's for a boat. But yeah, a wheel, basically, to steer with. Or a coin. Those were all things that sort of leapt out at me as being something that could be used for luck for a loved one. Other things, so there's the Ogham. And Ogham, for me, I would use Dar, which is oak, which is this one. Or I would use holly, Tinna, which is that one. Or hazel, coal, which is that one. Or Bure, which is heather, which is that one. So those would be those that I would use personally. But obviously, as I say, go with what leaps out to you. If you wanted to use oracle cards in your spread, the ones that leapt out were the World, the Star, this is from the Rider-Waite, or the Wheel of Fortune, which is probably where I when I was looking, came up and sort of thought about this wheelie thing. But yeah, so those, I'm just going to move those out of the way because obviously I'm sort of setting this up as if I'm going to do it, but I'm not. I'm just sort of setting it up. If you don't use tarot, but you've got oracle cards, the world is your oyster, as the saying goes. So the two packs that I'm going to have a look through are this one, which is, let's see if I can get it in, Wisdom of Avalon. This is by Colette Baron Reid. Those are some that I like to use. And my other go-to that I like to use for things like this is Earth Magic by Stephen D. Farmer. These are my two main oracle decks that I work with. So from Earth Magic, the ones that jumped out at me were, let's hold these properly so you can see them a bit better. Rainbow, Waterfall, New Moon, and Dance. Those were the ones, as I say, they were from my Earth Magic. From Wisdom of Avalon, actually more jumped out, which was interesting. So the bee leapt out, and so did the High Priestess. Wealth, also. Very interesting. Cow. Now that was surprising, but that one really did want to come and play. So I'm just going to pop that one there. Horse. Not surprised when that one said wanted to come out and play. So that one's there. And then there was trust. And to me, that was about trusting your own intuition and your own thoughts on something. So that one's there. So I'm spreading these out. Sorry, the camera doesn't do a 360. But yeah, they are sort of spread out around. You could include crystals if you wanted to. You could just use a pebble if they've got a favourite pebble that they've picked up on their travels. If they're like me, they've got loads of pebbles. But if not, then crystals that would leap out to me would be amethyst, because obviously amethyst is my favourite colour. Hence why my runes are actually amethyst. But anyway, so amethyst would be my choice, but you could go with carnelian, green aventurine, labradorite, rose quartz, sunstone maybe, tiger's eye, lapis lazuli, or like me, I mean, fortunately amethyst came up anyway, but if they've got a favourite crystal and they have, they or you happen to have a little tumblestone, then it's very useful to have that. If you want, you could also get them to write a little petition. So if they were doing that, then you would ask them to write, and it only has to be a quick sentence, unless they want to write a whole spiel, which they can do. But I would get them to write it in either red or blue ink, or green if you've got it. And then they can fold it up, and because it's luck towards them, get them to fold it so that they're folding it towards them. What else could you use? You could use a picture. If the person's not there, then you can use a picture of them so you can focus. Oh, now another idea. Print off one of the tarot. You can get them online where you can just print them and download them and print off. And then they could actually write their petition on the printed off tarot. There's a thought. Or even just get them to draw a horseshoe and then write their petition over the top of that, maybe. That would work, I think. Yeah. Go with your intuition or your loved one's intuition as to what works. Well, now we'll double back to the herbs, having already mentioned them. So, clover, obviously, because we've already said about the 4-leaf clover. Where have you gone? So there's the 4-leaf clover back in the picture again. Heather, basil, holly, marigold, nutmeg, poppy, rose, star anise, sunflower, which is why I'm saying you could just use the sunflower oil. I'm actually going to include one of my little horses in this. I'm going to move those out of the way. And what I would, the other thing that you could do, instead of using crystals or these just get that back into the picture. There we go. So we are going to be making a little spell pouch for them to carry. But if it's difficult for them to carry something like that, if they've got a piece of jewellery that they always wear, and they're obviously with you, then use that bit of jewellery, empower that bit of jewellery, have that. I'm just going to take one of my rings off. Sit that with the candle and empower the piece of jewellery. Because if it's something that they always wear, it's going to be with them the whole time. And as I say, not everyone can carry a spell pouch with them the whole time. So these are just sort of like throwing in options as they're arising within my head. So like I said, for me, this is for me. If I was doing this, I would have an amethyst, I would have a nutmeg, and I would have a star anise, which does smell absolutely gorgeous. And I would have my horse and my 4-leaf clover, like that. Light my candle, having inscribed it with what I wanted to inscribe. And then I would literally hold these items that I wanted to put into my pouch. You could do them individually. If you're doing it with your loved one, might be an idea to do them individually, because if they're not used to magic and working magic, then it'll probably be better for them to do it individually. If you're doing it for them at a distance and you're used to doing it, then you can probably do it all like this. And I would literally have, let's get my candle out of the way so I can get my hand a little bit further down, so that's better. I would actually have them in my hand. I would have my other hand over the top, and then I would say something along the lines of, I feel the magic of my spellcraft grow to bring my loved one luck needed now. Good fortune to them this energy will bestow, to continue as they want, as above and so below. Chants are not my strong point, you may have noticed, but it's something along those lines. Doesn't have to rhyme, mine just happened to, but it doesn't have to. You could just say some words, but you're powering that energy. You're pulling energy from the earth through your feet. You're pulling energy from the sky through your head down into your hands. You're empowering. You are charging these items with your intent for your loved one. And once you think that's all done, you put them all into your pouch. Leave the candle to burn down with the pouch there. If your loved one is with you, you can sit and just chat about what it is that they need this spell for. Help them to visualize by talking about it and what they want the outcome to be. By doing that, you're helping them to visualize it being successful. There is going to be a written blog to go along with this, and I do hope this is, or has been, will be helpful to the person that asked and to anybody else that sees it. It is nice to be asked because it makes me think about different things and different ways of doing things. So yes, thank you for the suggestion. I hope this is helpful, and I will see you next time.